Hey guys, welcome back. Episode 2, here with Jace again. A little bit different this episode. We're going to try and include as much as we can. Today we're sort of talking about finances and sort of trying to create that budget. Obviously it is a massive target of mine to be able to offer a product like a franchise model that is affordable to, just to lower the barrier to entry for, young people or, people that have been in the industry and don't really have the capital to be able to come in and still get those, those opportunities with marketing and with buying power and all that sort of stuff. So they're still a part of a big group, but something a bit more affordable. But obviously it's important that we cover our bases. At the moment in my head, I'm thinking around the sort of 30 to 40K sort of thing, buy into the franchise model. But we need to make sure that we can identify all the costs that are going to be involved with setting it up, onboarding somebody and making sure that person's successful in their first month, which is something that we're going to strive to do. So like, what's that going to cost? And is it going to be affordable to sell it at, say, 30K? Sit tight. We'll include as much as we can. And I guess if there's anything I don't really want you to hear, you're not going to hear it. So let's see how we go.
So what we want to do is just try to effectively work through, when you started, what the costs were and what the model, and at the end of the day, look at where, if you're someone that's buying in, will make some money or not make some money, whatever that model sort of, and obviously it's something that made you some money initially. So these are the type number of jobs that you'll need to do on an average spend for your jobs. Average sale for your jobs, and then work out what your expenses would be. And this is what you should be able to take home, and then sort of work out it in a model of going, well, if you brought on one or two extra people, which may not be, you may do in one-man band for the first 12 months or whatever it is, but then you might sort of go, I've now got the workflow, this is what it's going to work. This is how the financials should come through if I add another staff and etc. like that. So
if we can, I really want to avoid, taking out a percentage, like a lot of franchises do, a percentage of revenue.
Yeah.
I just think it's, I think if we can maybe find a way to have a win with selling them the product, that way it's sort of like there's no hidden goodies. They're not getting to the end of the month, cash flow. I've still got to pay my 3% to these guys.
Yeah.
All
right. So talk to me your first 12 months, your finance, what came at $1,200 a month, was it?
No, it was like $1,200 a week. But that was like, I think that's what I worked out. My paying the mortgage. I had another property at the time.
Yeah.
Fuel, ute, trailer, tools.
So that wasn't just your finance values.
No, that would have been just So if you work out like, so for the vehicle you need, you're going to be looking around with insurance $300 to $400. So let's just be trying to be pessimistic and go.
Up. Conservative is how you describe it.
Yeah, conservative. So $400.
And that's to cover what your motor vehicle, just fuel?
That'd be just your vehicle. That'd be for if your vehicle's on tick and insurance. I reckon about $400 a week. Diesel. If they were doing what I was doing, like when I first started, I was just doing a lot of driving around, like within that 50-kilometre radius.
Yeah, which you'd expect that you're going to have
cold call prospecting, so like expect around $200, $200 a week on diesel. Well, I suppose plus and then servicing.
Yeah,
you just about double it, wouldn't you?
Well, true, I think.
400.
That's why take that, and I'll take what we've got, and then sort of go from there.
I guess that's a good way of sort of dissecting, so we can see and forecast what, like a franchisee, what we're going to make out of a franchisee. Like what we're trying to do here is like, we've looked at my first ever year, which was like before the brand had momentum, and then obviously like since, inception. And then we've looked at opening up the commercial hub down in Melbourne. The reason we went to Melbourne in the first place was because we picked up a 6-figure contract. And then the team member that we brought on, he had a lot of contacts as well. And their brand had momentum as well. They had the support, the financial support, the marketing support, that sort of stuff. So we need to try and bring those two models to a bit of a baseline, because I guess when people buy into the franchise, they're going to have that brand momentum and that marketing behind them and the backing. But they're probably not going to walk into a 6-figure contract straight away as well either. But, I'm not saying that opportunity won't come for the right person in a different area. But we need to try and, marry those two to, I guess, see, right, this is potentially what they can turn over in the first year. If we're selling them a portion of the product, what are we going to what sort of net return are we going to see out of their spending through our other wholesale hub? So I don't know if I mentioned that previously in the other video. So we've got Alpha Tyres, which is our retail sector of the whole organisation, and then we've got LTS Wholesale, which is what we sort of commissioned back in March, which is just like wholesale tyres. So we mainly just do truck and agricultural, mainly truck. But my plan with LTS Wholesale is to become like a really big buying group for Alpha Tyres. So as people come into the franchise, they'll buy their product through LTS Wholesale, and so they're essentially part of that big buying group. So they're going to get competitive prices that the big dogs get, even though they're just a small sort of sole trader sort of thing. And then we'll be able to sort of make a portion of profit out of those them buying the product through that separate company, the wholesale hub. So that's just I guess a bit of a breakdown of what we're trying to work out at the moment is right. How much are we going to make out? How much are we going to on-sell the product to our franchisees so that they're still getting a good deal, they're still competitive with their prices, but we're still, making a decent amount out of, each individual franchisee so that we can implement the right systems and have the right support network for it to be worth it for everybody, I guess.
That's one I want you to get on a whiteboard. And I want you to map out from now, so right at the end on the left is now. I guess when you would expect to start bringing in the first franchisee, and then when potentially the next one be?
What year is it at the moment? 2023.
Yeah, so
we're on the same page.
Yeah, that's a good start. Hopefully we don't look. All right, so you've got December 23 sort of in there. So obviously next 6 months. Yeah, so that's
timeline is basically beta test, franchise model. So I hope that
so have one person or one franchisee ready to be able to go through the testing of it. Is that what you mean by that?
Or essentially just it'd be ready for us to go right through it and go right. Is this ready to go to market?
Yeah, okay. To get it ready for market. So that's not necessarily
crucial speed hump here. He's a little baby coming into my life.
Well, on that basis, you just wipe out the next 6 months.
So Hercules. So I would like to get this boom, said, done. All my time, focus, and energy. We have the franchise model ready to go. Start in December. And then,
but when you mean beta test, your meaning is just the beta version of it. It's not necessarily hasn't been tested with someone at that point in time. But we've got what we believe is something that if someone approached us the next day, would have something to be able to go through. Whatever we need, so we've got
this. Should say beta tested.
Yeah.
I would like it. So my mental energy goes into this. It's ready to go. Mm-hmm. December, I will be technically switching off.
Yep.
And then come the new year, so sort of January, I would like to, in between this period here, so Jan 24. Mm-hmm. So this period here, the plan is going to change over time, but I think everything we've got between now and December,
set it off,
switch off, December to January. So that's going to be my time. Have a kid, Christmas, New Year's, and really come and try and just come up with a marketing strategy. And then when I feel like I'm ready to, I guess, step back a little bit from the baby stuff, when I think I'm like ready to go and like have a crack.
Yeah.
So whether it's January or February.
Yeah.
We push.
Yeah.
And we've got it ready to go. Like we sort of dotted our I's, crossed our T's by December. Because we've got this one here, which is our first draft of like the license agreement. So I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous video. So I've got like a license agreement drawn up. So license agreement, franchise, completely different thing. The license is basically like a very small version of just protecting the brand and that sort of stuff. We've got a gentleman that's currently got his own Tyre business, which is just B2B, exactly pretty much the concept that we're looking to create here. And he's pretty interested in coming in and being our beta tester, I guess you could say. So coming in and as we work on this, we can sort of communicate it with him and, as a win for him, he's coming into the brand. We're not going to, expect him to come up with any capital or anything like that. And he's going to be like our crash test dummy, hopefully. So we're going to have that, a little bit to go yet before he's sort of 100% locked in, but that's going to be an opportunity for us to really do some real-time ironing out of, what we're talking about, so that when we do come to market in January, February, we've sort of, dotted our I's and crossed our T's with an actual candidate. So we might not have anything to sell just yet, but we will start running ads for it, around this sort of last quarter of 23, like expressions of interest. So we basically, because we don't really, that's what we're hoping to do with this as well, with the YouTube channel. From the time we get this out into the open until then, hopefully we build enough rapport, and by the time we get to January to market, we've got this thing ready to rock and roll. There's half a dozen guys that are like, fuck yeah, this sounds like sick, been watching the journey on your socials, how do we get involved? So we could have that there. And then, but if, just say we don't, we might have those guys there, but I really think it'd be smart to start running like a bit of a campaign, express your interest internally sort of thing. They go to a funnel, they put their email address in there, so we actually get some contacts. So we might get some really, like cold sort of interest around this time here, and we get an email address, and then we get in contact with them, and it's just sort of like, not interested, but like, when we run a campaign in 6 months' time, and we've got a small army of franchisees, and then they're like, oh shit, it's actually got to be, because the first people are going to be very hard to get over the line, because to build the trust, to know that, this is a sustainable option for them to get into business. But if we, in 12 months' time, we've got a small little group of people that are all quite successful, and we have all these people's details, that might not have been ready to jump on board then when we do the next push, you know what I mean? We've got the data there.
All right. Well, I want to know, I need to come up with a model or expected number of, maybe do a worst case scenario of number of franchisees from March 24 to June 26. And then I want you to do best case scenario, March 24 to June 26. And the reason
26?
26.
2 years.
Yeah.
I guess we need to work out, like, when we're working out the initial buy-in cost of the franchise, just say we do this and we've got half a dozen people ready to rock and roll by March. Like you said, me as an individual couldn't sign up those half a dozen people straight away. But, if we've got them secured, then we know that our investment is around, 35K, we've got 6 people. You're looking at like a fair bit of a decent cash injection coming in. So maybe like I could afford to have that person to back me up, and we go, right, we're going to have all these people on board in the next 8 weeks.
Potentially, but you got to make it.
But we need to work out how much are we actually popping out of that 35k, and are we going to shoot ourselves on the foot 6 months down the track?
Absolutely.
Taking all that cash out to...
Well, if you're not charging an ongoing thing, which to be honest, I think you need to consider doing it, because Alpha Tyres HQ is going to have ongoing annual or weekly, monthly, yearly expenses to cover, to support.
Yeah.
Which is, you think of your Durham guys. Well, if you took Moama, the team at Moama out, and you out the equation, well, they don't have a business because they don't have that admin and that management and that side of things. So it's a matter of exploring that. And I know you've always said, Rudy, well, there's going to be a lead gen sort of fee or component to that, and that would make sense. But I think there's also other expenses that you may want to consider as...
I think it'd be a good idea between now and sort of, around here, even just like applying for, reaching out to franchise opportunities in similar sort of, with similar sort of buy-ins and that sort of thing, like a gyms or something like that, and just going through the process with them, even though it's a bit of wasting a bit of time sort of thing, but we're essentially just doing market research to see, right, what are you guys doing, everybody? Where can we sort of sit so that we're, competitive, but like I said, probably.
All right, you've got some work to do. So you've got a worst case scenario from that time frame. How many franchisees? Yeah. Well, make your best guess, and then do a best case scenario version.
Worst case scenario, man, we invest a lot of time and energy, and nobody's interested.
Yeah, this is the worst case. But maybe
realistically, I think we've got legs here, and I think if we do this, what we're doing here, building this YouTube channel, building a bit of an audience, I think if we've had expressions of interest for the last quarter of the year.
Well, maybe not the worst case. Maybe the minimal that you would.
Yeah.
I know you're a very optimistic person.
Yeah, so you may want to speak to the person that's a realist.
So maybe we have Jemima.
Right, let's just say one every 6 to 8 weeks.
Jesus.
What?
That's a lot.
Not really. Do you think it's a lot?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
It's like starting a new business every 6 weeks.
Maybe I'm a bit too optimistic. You're on the tail end of the conversation, babe. So
no, I think you understand what we're asking, but
that is
what
seems like a lot.
do you have an idea what would be like? Not what the minimum what you'd want, but the minimum. I guess the minimum would be 0. Well, that's the reality.
Yeah.
That is what the minimum is. But whether you just said 1.25, and so let's say March you sign one up, and the next one's not till June, the next one's not till September, and all you're doing is just 1.25.
1.25, so we're looking at 4 to 5, 4 to 6 by June 26th.
All right. So 1.25 would be by June 26th, you'd be at 9.
Okay. You're better than me.
Oh,
29. Yeah, sorry.
That's it. So it's not. Yeah. I think you're 25. You're talking.
Yeah. So around 9 units.
But that's still. I don't know. That still potentially is finding one person that's willing to find, $30,000 to $40,000 plus needing to finance $50,000 on vehicle and equipment and that sort of stuff once every 3 months. I don't know whether that's more best case scenario. I don't know. You're going to take 9 times 30,000, whatever it is. That's in that. That's going to be what capital injection you'll get, but you've got to fund this and this and this, and how are we going to do that? All right, well, why don't you get your black pen out? We've given, and I don't know, 1 every 3 months to me, I don't know.
These are my estimations. We're fucking recording this. this. I think
All right.
Honesty approach, remember?
honest approach.
And I'll come from my honesty approach is that he reckons he'll onboard one every 6 weeks, but that's all he'll do. So I'll have to manage the 9 people that are already doing marketing, admin, sales, training, IT.
Okay. No, honestly, so we talked about before you got here. Obviously, this is what we're trying to build here with the channel. He's going to gain some interest and some traction, I think. I think that should work. And then I was just saying, like, before we even have the model beta tested, ready to rock and roll, like around sort of the last quarter of this year, we'll run some ads doing some expressions of interest where people are actually explain the franchise opportunity and getting people to register their emails and register their interest, that sort of thing. And I really think, doing with this and with running this campaign for the last quarter, I think we'll have about 4 to 6 genuine leads that are actually like, fuck, this sounds alright, and fit the criteria.
All right. So let's talk onboarding.
Yeah.
All right. Because I can't see how you can onboard 4 or 6 at once.
No,
Okay. So what would do the same as what I've done here, and just sort of go, what is the shortest, or sorry, what would you expect is a fair onboarding period? And
I think-
and like, are you then 6 months? Is it one a month, or is it one every 2 months? What?
Yeah.
What's
I think to be fair, I think if we had this sort of interest around the 4 to 6 units before, when we were in the market, I think that would give me the confidence. And plus, we're already making enough revenue in the wholesale without even doing this, by the way. I think we'd be able to take the leap of onboarding somebody, so we might say, right, we want to do it in January. Taking December off, we know that we've got these 4 to 6 people that fit the mold and are interested. Why don't we onboard support in January, roll out their training, educate them on the franchise model and what we're doing. And so now we have 4 to 6 people and then we start onboarding them in Feb. And we offer each individual basically 2 weeks with one, either me or this person that we hire for support. So you've essentially got, like me with that one franchisee, 2 weeks, getting him set up, reaching out, cold call prospecting in their area, getting them on their feet, and then they've got the tail end of the month to basically, walk on their own 2 feet. They'll obviously still have our support with marketing and, on the blower and all that sort of stuff. And then, so we do 2, 2, 2, 2. So, we could potentially, that'd be March, April. So we could do sort of, if we've got me and one other bloke, we could do 4 to 6 over February, March. I would like to guarantee that we make sure that they're profitable in their first month. It's easy to do. Really, it's easy to do.
Yeah, but back to what we're saying is that if you're doing 2 of them per month and you've got another 2 that have only just started a month ago, that's a lot of
What if we incorporate
people.
that into the price structure of the buy-in, and we just say, we pay for, we make sure that your costs are covered in the first month, and we include that in the initial buy-in. So like, instead of it being 35k, it's 38k, and that's, we factor in, all right, your overhead's going to be about $1,200 a week, so we've got you covered for the first month if you do not make a cent.
And if you don't give them the support and the time and it fails, then that's a reflection of no one but us.
in particular the first couple, you want them to be your advocates.
Yeah.
I would say like no more than nearly in like the first year. Like, babe, it has to be right.
I know. I like the idea of, yeah, like if just say we did have, you know, half a dozen, 4 to 6 people at the start, just saying like, right, we're only doing one a month for the first couple of months, then bring on that person in the shadow, and so yeah, maybe the first 6 months is just, he's going to be slow doing one a month. I genuinely think we'll have one a month easy.
Yeah, but babe, it has to be right.
I know.
We can have 10 a month if you want, but if they
That's why it's June and we have Jace here and we're not doing this till 2024.
It's still a tight time frame.
It's very tight.
Let's say we start someone and let's say we set up a 1,300 number, and people start calling it. On day one, who are they talking to? Is that coming to you? Are you going to train up one of the guys in Moama?
This is for the franchisee.
This is for Alpha App. So if you're going to be the central sort of call centre,
Yeah.
someone's going to be your call centre. How do you see that working for the first franchisee?
Yeah, so I would probably, in my head, I would like it to go to a trained sales team that's like their bread and butter's on call start, you know, like phone conversion sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but then it's just like, well, how many people are you going to have in the call centre for, you know, the size of only having one franchisee?
Yeah.
And then it's like, and you're also going to get a lot of people that they just want to talk to the person that they're dealing with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They want to come in, they want to speak to Jamie.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Jamie on the phone. Oh, they're not here. We're actually at the call centre, you know what I mean? Like, when we start off with it, I just don't think we're going to be there yet for the call centre thing. I think that person, that role, you know, might just has to be somebody that's a well-rounded sort of communicator, you know, that they're answering the phones for all three, like for the franchisee and the other 2 locations.
Mm-hmm.
They're, you know, crossing over all the social platforms, getting back to people.
We're going to need an admin person that can handle. Component will be lead gen. Component will be, you know, handling the LTS orders and invoicing. Maybe there might be a component of it. Maybe the franchisees don't want to do their own invoicing or anything like that, so they maybe be able to do that on the behalf. But that's a fee, an additional service fee that you're wanting to, but potentially they also could be, you know, or they're also the ones that are, you know, checking the are they checking the socials and anything through that side of things. Maybe they're the ones that are actually taking an active look at or that marketing. They may not be the one doing the marketing, but someone's got to give the marketing person some direction. And I understand that typically 2 models is normally it's a percentage of revenue or a flat monthly sort of fee.
Yes, I think that's what I'll be leaning towards.
Yeah.
Yeah, like having marketing fee, getting on with the supply chat, you know, making a 3% or whatever on our
LTS.
supplying, LTS, and then I talked about having that conference thing. I have heard as well with another franchise model. I can't remember what one it was called, but it was like it was a fee that they charged, and it was just like a upgrading fee. So it's just like, you know, when, you know, business has been going for 5 to 10 years and like the signage starts to look shit, you know, the paint's fucked. It's like a small fee that they pay each month, and it compounds, and so in like 3 years' time, if they want to do some upgrades to something, it's just like they've got that money sitting there in a pool, like a cash pool.
Yeah.
I think something like that would be really good, because it's just one of those things, like, you know, a lot of businesses, you know, they don't keep that $5,000 aside just to you know, do a bit of a brand makeover and, you know,
Yeah.
upgrade their, you know, redo the signage on their vehicle and.
All right. I think that's enough to get a first draft of franchise sort of model / budget on how that to come up with something. That brings us to 3 o'clock.
Beautiful, man.
All right. If you're happy, you good?
Yeah.
All right. You can do the wrap.
Do the wrap.
You can do the wrap.
Subscribe. Motherfuckers.